Hi there, Scott again with Stain Foo. Today I wanted to kind of show you a typical carpet construction, and one of the questions we continue to receive is, how do I get the odor out of my carpet that's been saturated or been there a long time? And I'll just go over the construction first, and then we'll get to the details in one moment. First of all, here's a typical carpet installation where you have the carpet installed over top of a padding. This is a cushion, a padding, standard rebond, and underneath that you wouldn't have a sofa cushion, but you'd have a subfloor, perhaps concrete or wood. Now let's see how a typical stain penetrates through a carpeting. When let's say a dog or a cat urinates in a small spot like right here, what'll happen is, because wet is always seeking dry, it has a tendency to spread out. So it'll start as this little tiny spot and spread out as far as it can until it evaporates or until it dries. And if you look on the back side, this one's already had some substantial damage to it, which probably started off in a little tiny spot like this. And because dry is seeking damp, it's always pulling away from that center spot. Plus gravity's pushing it down. With gravity, also understand that it's depositing as far as it can into the pad and possibly even the subfloor. So we have multiple layers of contamination to deal with some spots and stains that have been there for a long time, or let's say a cat or dog has gone over and over in the same spot, and now it started off small, but it's gradually spread. Well, every layer has to be addressed in order for a successful spot treatment. You see, if I only treated the carpet in this little area, that does not address this bigger spot, so we'll still have an odor. And just because I've treated this little spot, if the contamination is here, then we'd still have some odor because it's wafting up into the carpet fibers, especially when we walk on it. You can see that this backing has little tiny grooves and holes in it, and that's just where the glue voids allow air and moisture and stuff to breathe. So your carpet actually will waft the odors upward into the airspace. Add to that, a pad is a giant sponge, and below that could be the wood or the concrete subfloor. So each layer has an ability to hold and also release any kind of moisture, any kind of contamination throughout the entire structure. So in order for us to successfully treat a urine spot or anything that's gone bigger, we need to know approximately how wide it is to start with, and secondly, how deep it is. That usually starts with a professional cleaning, or if you do it yourself, go ahead and clean that area extremely well. Don't saturate it or soak it to start with. Just go ahead and clean it and see what happens. Again, we recommend, if you're going to use Stain Foo, that you just use it at the ratio of 4 ounces per gallon in your do-it-yourself machine. If a professional cleaner comes out, he'll have spot treatments and stuff that are designed specifically for breaking down all these layers of saturation. So if you still have an odor after you've cleaned that area, then what we do is take Stain Foo and continue to push it into the carpeting as far down as we can. Now let's imagine it starts off here and maybe it doubles in size as it dries, and then perhaps the pet does it again, and now we're out to here. So let's imagine a course of a month. This little tiny area might be as large as the width of this entire spot. So that would mean we'd have to decontaminate this entire area. If it's that bad, it's best to go with getting the carpet professionally evaluated from a professional carpet cleaner. However, if you notice that it's just a small area, knowing that it's probably pushed out some, you can go ahead and use Stain Foo. Get it to the spot, to the point where it's penetrating the carpet fibers, and now it's penetrating the backing of the carpeting, and also penetrating some of the pad. If it's really, really bad, there are limitations on every spot cleaner on the market, because you have this giant sponge, and if you get this wet, then you're going to have drying issues. And when you have drying issues, you're going to have odor issues. So if you're concerned that it's damp even into your pad, it's best not to use any spot cleaners. Go ahead and just get it evaluated from a professional cleaner. If you think it's only in the backing of the carpeting though, go ahead and use Stain Foo. Get it to the point where it's not squishy. Like I can feel moisture, but it's definitely not squishy. And walk on it. Go ahead and push that down there with your feet so that it's penetrating to the backing of the carpeting. Once it gets to that point, let it do its magic. If you're concerned that if it's working, first of all, go ahead and just wipe it up with your towel. You'll notice perhaps some yellow comes out of it. For a longer term solution, go ahead and take your white towels and fold them up. I only have 2 here. I might suggest 6. Go ahead and fold them up like this. Set it on the dampened spot, the spot that's been dampened and used, clean with Stain Foo. Set it on there. Put something heavy like a book or a brick. And what will happen is that'll help to pull the surrounding moisture up into the towel. You see, carpet always dries from the bottom up. So as it's drying, it's pulling the contamination up with it and breaking this bond between the carpet fibers and the towels and depositing the contamination into the towels itself. So there you have it. On really deep stains, it's best to go ahead and clean it first. If it's still there, treat it with Stain Foo. If it's still there, you probably want to get your backing. You want to pull it back if you can and take a look at it. If that's not possible, professional carpet cleaners will be able to help you out with their tools. And especially if it's contaminated into the pad, there's nothing on the market that's going to cause this giant sponge to magically become decontaminated.